Welcome back, Screamers, to another episode where we confess to you that there is really just one person hosting this podcast. There never was a Brock, listener. That's all an allusion to Primal Fear, which is our dangerous banger for this episode.
Come on, counselor.
Where's your head, Marty?
Come on.
There never was an Aaron.
Don't make me lose faith in you.
You were doing so well.
If that's what you think, Marty,
there's no hope for you.
I tell you what.
We're also going to talk the new film, The Crazies, MadS, and another Kelly Reichardt masterpiece, Certain Women. Jason, do you ever feel like you're two different people?
All the time. Have you ever read Sybil, or were you familiar with, have you seen the movie, or are you familiar with the concept of Sybil? And you know what I'm talking about? Like, Sybil was like, so like, you're familiar with Go Ask Alice, right? Like,
yeah,
that stupid ass fucking bullshit propaganda book.
Yeah.
So Sybil was to Go Ask Alice what multiple personalities was to drugs, essentially. Okay. Like, I think it was all bullshit. I think it was like a story that like someone had put together, and like, so Sybil, and it was a movie, like a TV movie played by Sally Field.
Right.
And she was like 800 different people, right? It was very much like split, like 1970s split, essentially.
Okay, sure.
But like, it was a book that, like, I don't know, like when I was in, I'm sure every kid has this phase of like trying to scare the shit out of itself. Like, so I went through a phase when I was, probably like first, second, like when you could go to the library, and I only checked out books on ghosts, like natural cryptids, and then like kidnapping stories. Like those were the three things. And like, I would go to bed like so terrified every night of being kidnapped by like perverts, being kidnapped by like aliens, or being attacked by demons and ghosts. And I believed all that shit was like, this is going to happen to me. It's 100% going to happen to me. And I was going to, and so Sybil was one of those books kind of like crept in of like, here's what can happen to you if you don't, I don't even really, that one wasn't like, oh, if you don't eat your, vegetables, that you'll turn into multiple personalities. Right. But it was all, I do believe that she was abused, and that's what caused her split psyche. And like, but she was a 60-year-old woman and a 35-year-old man.
Gotcha.
It was all different kinds of like different people in this body. And she was the first case that, incited a nation, and like we're all so, this is a whole new thing that's real for everybody, is split personalities. So
we suck. Like, we just suck.
What it does, as long as it makes money, it's okay.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't matter what lies we tell, as long as we can profit from it.
Look, the thing is, people with any kind of mental health problems, they're just fucking crazy. That's the bottom line. They're just fucking crazy.
Futs, man. Knuckin' futs.
Yeah.
So but no, I don't believe that I've ever thought I was someone else.
Have you ever thought that you were having a dream that you were a butterfly, but actually you were a butterfly dreaming that you were a man?
Fuck you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to land on their fingers so they know it's me.
I do hope people like listen to these episodes back to back, so they get the references that we call back to.
Yes. Yeah. Pulling up the curtain, listener, we record 2 episodes at a time because we have lives we have to.
Don't listen to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Speaking of which, before we get into Primal, are you excited about, and I know you're not, but I want to ask anyway. Are you excited about Wicked?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know what?
I didn't realize that Cynthia Erivo
was an asshole.
Oh, is she?
I don't know. She's kind of full of herself, but other than that, it's fine.
Well, she can also do fucking anything.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing.
So that's what I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Because all she has to do is win an Oscar, right, to get an EGOT.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So she's won a daytime Emmy for a performance that was on, I believe, the Today Show.
So they won a daytime Emmy. It's fine.
No. I have 2. Right. She won a Tony for her role in The Color Purple. And then a Grammy for like a group. I forget exactly like what song, but yeah.
Did you see the Color Purple musical?
I did not. I am not a musical fan.
Okay.
It will take a lot of. No,
I've seen the stage production of the Color Purple, and I thought it was pretty good. But I mean, really good actually. But I did not watch the movie. And I will at some point. I just for whatever reason passed me. I mean, I liked the Spielberg version. It's fine.
Right. But I like the opera, but I don't like musicals. No, I mean I know it's like, of course I understand how pretentious that sounds with me, but you know, like, I don't like no Rent, but I do like La Boheme. You know,
Rent.
But that's
there's a reason not to like Rent.
Look, we are again to pull back the curtain. We've been trying to figure out how to talk about the Warrior concept album by Lin-Manuel Miranda, whatever his name is, right?
LMM.
And I think we'll figure out a way to do that. I have some ideas that we're gonna have to watch.
I've just got to get
original and then like because
and I just haven't had like the time to like dive into it. I really want to.
So I have tried and I just turn it off.
Right. That's the same. Like, I think I've got to get refamiliarized with the film and its beats before I can go back to the song.
So I tried that too. We got to save this conversation.
Sure,
right? Because I mean, like I just because I'm trying to figure out like when I'm listening to the record. Right, I'm going back to the film, and I'm like, but wait, which gang is the mimes?
Right. Wait
which gang are the magicians? And which gang have the satin shirts? I don't know. Sorry. Anyway, so we'll talk about the movie Warriors at some other point. And if you don't know Warriors, like they wear the vests.
Right.
They're the vest crew. They don't wear shirts, but they wear vests. Their arms are cold.
All the cool gangs.
I mean, like those are some of the least scary gangs I've ever come across.
Yeah, no shit. If I could cross the 5 boroughs with no problem in Terrence Hill or Walter Hill's.
I mean, yeah, okay. Anyway,
Walter Hill's New York.
Talk about that later.
Back to Wicked. I like the stage production of Wicked. I think it's a very clever take on the original story.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not excited about them breaking up into movies necessarily because I think that like it makes sense to do that when you're in the stage production. But if you're going to end it with Defying Gravity, like it's such a weird, like then the rest of this, I don't know, man, it's a weird, like how you break up a stage production, just make it a 3-hour thing and be done with it.
Right.
Because the fans of it will go and see it. I don't need 2 4-hour or 2 2-hour films. I just give me 1 3-hour film.
Yeah.
Cut out the fluff. You don't need everything. You don't need every single song. Don't add any songs. Here's the thing. I fucking hate that. I hate when they write new songs for them. Like, don't do that. Just cut down a couple of them, tell the story. I don't really care. I mean, like, Ariana Grande's fine as a Kristen Chenoweth replacement. She's almost the same thing anyway. But
yeah, you're not wrong.
But I think, I mean, like, I do. I think you can never really tell. You can never really tell when that accent's going to come out. You can never really tell like when a musical is going to pop.
Right.
And I feel like Wicked has the. I feel like Wicked has the potential to be a really huge hit with people because it's going to be Christmas, it's going to be family friendly, and everyone's familiar with the story. But sometimes these things don't hit. But and especially I think maybe doing it 2 movies is going to like they're not really advertising that.
Yeah.
I think people are going to kind of be pissed. But
so it's going to be like Dune. I mean, really like Dune. Where you're going to get to the end. And it's going to be like end of part 1.
Right.
Or I was going to like have an even deeper cut with like the souvenir, and you get to the end of the credits. Souvenir part 2 coming soon.
The problem with translation to film is that Defying Gravity, when you see it in person on the stage, is such a spectacular sequence. I mean, she's fucking raised up, 50 feet above. And like
she's defying gravity.
She is absolutely 100% defying gravity. I don't know how you're going to replicate that in the movie, really, because I mean, people are going to expect it to be coming, and like it's just like that grandiose spectacle is going to be hard to do.
Yeah,
but I'll hold out.
Movie magic. Man.
Who the fuck's doing that? Is it Justin Lin? John Chu, not Justin Lin. He's doing
John M. Chu. Right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not excited about him as a director, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
So Primal Fear.
No, we have to do MadS first.
Oh, we got to do MadS first.
Do you want to do MadS first?
There's rules, I guess we're going by these days.
Well, because here's the thing.
It's true. We don't bang it at the beginning of the film. At the beginning of the podcast.
I am as a spoiler here. I am less interested in talking about MadS than I am talking about Primal Fear. So I'd like to get it out of the way.
Okay, all right, fine, let's do it.
So, MadS.
Romain, t'as l'air tout paniqué, t'as paniqué. Tu fais exprès ou quoi? Ok, je sais pas du tout ce que c'est. Vas-y, je te suis. Cette vie n'existe déjà plus. Je suis pas folle. Je suis folle.
A teenager who stops off to see his dealer to test a new drug before heading off for a night of partying. On the way home, he picks up an injured woman and the night takes a surreal turn. Okay, did he really test a new drug? I never quite understood that.
I mean, his dealer does say, "I've got stuff for you," essentially.
Yeah,
and that's. I mean, and then he goes over, but like, is it a? You don't really get the idea. I mean, it could have just been fucking coke. I mean, it could have just been like,
right. And I guess it's a different color, right? But it's a misdirect anyway,
right?
Right. So,
yeah. I mean, it's not like it's important to the plot.
No,
really.
No, because that's not what causes the crazies.
Right. Well, it's what
I'm
causes.
Keep saying that.
It's what causes. Well, not romaine, not lettuce. That gets the first disease. But like once the drug gets contaminated with the blood, that's how the two girls get. Well, I guess only one of the girls really.
Right.
Gets infected.
Right.
And I guess because she never did the drugs. I kept thinking like, why didn't she turn? But then I realized, and she did get blood in her mouth. But and I know we're talking about something you guys didn't even have. Like, if you haven't seen this one, you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But like, this is a 3-hander essentially. It's all filmed in one take.
One take, yeah.
It's an hour and a half, and and it's got a pretty decent 3 set. You know, it breaks its 3 acts up into 3 different characters. So we follow Romain, who's the one who gets the drugs, who gets the infected woman into his car and is going off into this party, and he's the first one to start kind of freaking out, but he kind of knows what's sort of going on. He's been privy to it. And then it translates to his immediate girlfriend, although like this is kind of a polyamorous like, group of kids here that is just kind of
everyone just sort of sleeping with each other,
banging it out, right? Yeah. It follows his next girlfriend, and as she starts to turn into a zombie or whatever these things are, and then the other girl that Romain is sleeping with, who might be pregnant with this child, which is again not really an important plot point more than anything else, it's just a point, goes
just to get them like upset at each other, right?
She goes and helps the other girl, and then they end up separating because by the time she finally is fully, she has to go help her mom, because she's worried about her mom being stuck in this apartment. And then we kind of get an idea of what's going on in the world, essentially.
Yeah.
But this is like basically the end of this is the start of the zombie apocalypse, essentially.
Yeah.
And we're following these 3 kids throughout kind of how this is going to progress. The movie never loses its conceit. I mean, we follow Romaine. It's not really a point of view movie, but you do stick with that one particular character. At one point, as he starts to turn, the government agencies that's kind of monitoring this captures him, and then he had gone to his house to turn off an alarm, and he starts to become more and more progressively a zombie. They capture him because they'd already been at his house anyway, because that's where the woman was. Yeah. And it was like, you get an idea of like, this is some sort of like virus that is spread because these women that are like, these are contaminated subjects that have been, we assume, under government control, but you hear this like voice over a walkie-talkie of some sort.
Well, she had a recorder
device,
yeah,
right?
and she like plays the recorder because they pull out her teeth, and then they cut out her tongue too. Yeah, like she couldn't speak. All she could do was sort of like scream.
And she tries to kill herself at certain points, but they're too strong and they can't really. Yeah. Like she stabs herself in the neck,
right? And that's how he gets blood on him, right? Because she like stabs herself like right in the neck.
And then so the girl starts to turn as well, because she had some blood infected cocaine or whatever the drug was, and her friend starts to come and help her because everything's really at this point kind of escalating. And there's a moped sequence, which is actually kind of fun.
Yeah,
and then she goes back to her house to check on her mom, and there's the government agency persons there kind of helping her walk through this kind of apartment complex. And turns out that person's also infected, and she's like, you need to get the fuck out of here because I can't control myself.
Well, and then she
kills herself before she actually turns. And the girl starts laughing maniacally and going crazy, and the world behind her behind the glass is ending.
Yeah. Now is this another Quebecois film?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know that this might be straight up France.
Okay, I couldn't tell if we were in
because
France or like Canada, France.
I have not seen anything else by this director aside from David Moreau, and besides The Eye, which I saw when The Eye came out, and I didn't care for it.
Yeah,
Them has been well regarded. He's done some other things that have been decently, but they've also been kind of all over the place. Like they're not like genre specific. Like it seems like he's kind of a director for, he'll do whatever.
Yeah.
But them back in 2006, I think, was pretty well regarded in regards to it's a really quick home invasion horror type film. And so I think, but that one's French. So I think this is straight up, we are actually in France, where the naked ladies dance. So
was them, here's a question about them, because I mean, I kind of dug them, right? Well, was that an influence on The Strangers as well?
I would think so, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, really. I mean, I know it's a little different, but still that same kind of like attitude of like, we're gonna fuck with you just because you're here.
It feels like it also feels like an influence, weirdly enough, like on Wolf Creek and those kind of like films that just but didn't explain, right? But you would have to think that, if not a direct influence, it definitely like its success and well regard helped get The Strangers off the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
So am I assuming you didn't care for this one? Or?
I thought it was fine. Like I didn't really, I do like, I joke about the crazies, but I think it's, I mean, kind of close enough. And I feel like the one take here is a little gimmicky. Like, it didn't, here's the thing. I wanted it to be more frenetic than I felt it was. Right. Okay. I really, because it didn't make me feel frenetic. It didn't make me feel like I think that one take should. Right.
Right.
And so I guess that's kind of my big complaint is that, and maybe it was just, I don't know, me, but I didn't feel the tension that.
Neither did Sammy.
No, Sam didn't either. Sam's like, fuck that. He watched it with me too. But, I felt more tension in something like Gloria, right, than I did here. Mm-hmm. And that is a way less tense of a film, I think, right, or supposed to be.
Right.
So it just didn't really work for me. And I think that a lot of the movie hinges on that.
I think it was an interesting take on the zombie genre. And I like this idea of like showing how it's progressing. amongst these three people. And I really did. I thought the way that they broke up the three acts was actually pretty interesting as well. I'd say I probably liked it a lot. I liked it more, not a lot more, but more than you.
Yeah.
Just because I think, and I will say, I think that the gimmick worked for me better than say something like an Azrael, where the gimmick is like, it just becomes tiresome after a mile. Like, okay, I don't really give a shit that they can't talk, right? It's like the gimmick in a Quiet Place to a certain extent. I'm just like, all right, well, whatever. I mean, like,
no, I think it's a better film than Azrael, right? I mean, like without a question.
I do think, and I think, I forget, what was the second girl's character's name?
Anise.
I think that the middle section of this movie fucking kills. I think here's the thing.
Wait, that's Julia, right?
Julia. I'm sorry. Yeah. So Anise is the first girl who's
it's the third.
Oh, okay. Yes.
You mean, so Julia is the one who like fully turns and
Julia
we
is
see
the hot
her
girl zombie, right?
Well, they're both. Yes. Okay. I mean, they're both hot.
But they're not zombies though. They're not both zombies.
Right. Yes. Julia's the one who's like, Anise, I'm going to rip your face off. And like, some of this stuff was really great. And so maybe I just didn't really like Romain.
Yeah,
I didn't really like hanging out with him.
It does start with the weakest part, because he's the one who's
she was good.
He's the one who doesn't. He's the one who should be more Charlie Sheen in this.
Yes,
because he's the one who's getting all the drugs. He's the one who's got all the girls. Mm-hmm. He's like, and he just feels like he's constantly put upon because his dad's coming home and like he's got this girl that's like,
what the fuck.
But yes, Julia, when she starts to turn and like there's like she's just fucking chewing scenery. Yeah. And that sequence where like I think the sequence where Julie's in the back of the moped with Anise and like she's scratching her back and rubbing and like kind of maniacally rubbing blood over her face, and Anise doesn't really know what to do, like but still wants to protect her friend. I think that middle section like really, really ramps it up for me. Mm-hmm. And like I just love this idea that we don't really get to see very much in these films, is that like we get a moment where it's, and you know, like things like The Walking Dead and like most of these films where there's a click and then you're immediately a zombie. This idea that it's a progressive thing and like it's going to come and go and then come more strongly and go. There's a moment where she's like looking in the mirror and she's like, oh, my poor body. And like, she's got his blood on her, but like this like
in bullet holes.
That's true. Oh my God. And that's
because she got shot like right to the back. And that's where she's like, because she even says at that point, she's like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
She's crying. She's like, I'm dead. And she's like, Mom. I mean, she like calls out for her mom at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I think some of those sequences are really, really cool.
Yeah.
I agree the gimmick gets maybe a little tiresome, especially when it's Romain. But once we get to hit to Julia, I really, really.
So, I mean, do you think like for this gimmick, and I call it a gimmick, and I don't. I mean, I think the one take is an interesting exercise, right? I really do. Even in 1917, I think it's an interesting exercise.
Sure.
I didn't love that movie.
Nah, me either.
But I think for it to like really work, we probably have to really want to spend time with the characters, right? Because we don't leave them. So like Run Lola Run, right? Even though that's like broken up, it's still like these long kind of one takes. But we want to spend time with Lola, right? And like we want to spend time with Julia. But I don't want to spend time with Romain. And so I wonder if that's like really where, and that's, if that's what you start off with, then you're kind of losing me, right? And so that's probably more of my reaction, because I think there are a lot of really interesting moments. I mean, like we just talked about, but I think the two women, that's where the more interesting moments really lie.
Yeah. Like I said, you feel like Romain, like he's so carefree and happy, and then like I don't know, maybe the character, I don't, how would you have changed it in regards to like, because he gets so freaked out about like he should have dumped the woman at the hospital, and then been like, because he's an asshole, right? He's sure, yeah, and at that point he could have just gone off and forgot, like washed the blood off himself, and gone off and enjoyed the party.
Yeah, he doesn't need a dad.
He does.
Like, we just don't need the dad character,
and we don't really need to like. Why does he go? Like, we don't need that whole sequence of why he goes back. The only reason he goes back to the apartment is so that he can get caught by the things that are, because he leaves the woman he leaves the woman that he has in his car at his house, basically in the garage, because he thinks she's dead, even though she's not there.
And then she ends up like in the bathtub, right?
Right. And so he goes back there because the alarm goes off, and
because his dad then calls him. He's like, "Someone's in the house. Where are you? What are you doing?"
Right. And because the government agency is looking for her, and we assume that she's got some sort of tracking device because she's like a test subject, they end up finding him, and that allows us to then move on to Julian, which we've already kind of established that he's been sleeping with both of them. And but he goes to the party, and he's not any fun at the party.
No,
he just beats up a dude, and then goes back, and then he gets on a bike and goes back to the house. So the first like 30 minutes of this film is probably the weakest of the film, and it's too bad, because I actually liked the first like 5. Like when he is the asshole and he's driving his Mustang fast, and like I thought that was, all right. I thought that was that's the character I wanted to spend time with.
Right. And I was just kind of like, oh, things are gonna go bad for this guy, right? Let's see how this happens. Right. But then I think as soon as we get back to his house, I'm like, I don't want to be with this guy anymore.
Now we get to see him naked, so that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
It's French.
I mean, it's so French. Like, that's how woke we are.
Right. It's fully frontal French. It was
fully frontal French. So I think that's my big, right. And if I don't want to spend time with that guy, then the one take, like I said, doesn't quite work. But there's a lot of interesting things other than that.
Yeah, I will say that there are cool visuals though when we are with Romain.
Sure.
So that when he's like, because the whole story is predicated off of it's Romain's birthday. He's just graduated. He evidently is this. I mean, obviously he's sleeping with multiple women. He seems to be like this beloved character.
Everybody loves this.
Yeah, they're all like high-fiving him when he comes in. So he puts this mask on when he gets about halfway through that has like 3 eyeballs.
Yeah. And
I thought that was a pretty cool like way that he's viewing that. And then he's kind of like listening in on the 2 girls talking to one another and how
about him basically.
Right. I love that interaction between the 2 girls at that point too, where there's like, you're not sleeping with anybody. Why do you have a pregnancy test? And she's like, well,
I did.
It's like,
Romain.
Right. And she's like, cool, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I know it was. Yeah, that was. But again, right? I'd much rather spend time with those 2 than. We keep going back to this, and it's like, those are the people I wanted to hang out with like the whole time. So, I mean, and I like when he takes the mask off and we just see his eyes.
Right.
I mean, that was cool too. I mean, look, I didn't hate this film. I just, I think I explained it. Don't need to do it again.
So if you're doing the at the movies, I give it a thumbs up, and Brock gives it a thumbs 3/4 of the way down.
Like a sideways,
right? A sideways thumb.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching though. I think, especially for the exercise to see how you listener respond to the one take exercise.
I mean, go see it. Whatever, fucking bullshit. I mean, it's fine. You're gonna see it in regardless of what we say.
Look, is there a whole lot else? You could go see Heretic. Or you could watch this, and I'd say this is more interesting.
Oh, this is way more interesting.
This is way more interesting.
Yeah, right? I would recommend Azrael over a Heretic.
Yeah,
not by a mile. But at least there's gore.
It depends. Yeah, at least there's gore, and it depends. Do you like lots of talking or none at all?
they are at the opposite end of the spectrum.
They are antithetical in that way. So it's your call. Lots of talking, none at all. Okay, now should we move on to Primal Fear? Are you excited to talk about Primal Fear? Wait, don't tell me.
On my first day of law school, my professor says from this day forward, when your mother says she loves you, get a second opinion.
In the game called Fame.
You are a master at putting the victim on trial.
A victim in this case is my client.
In the business called Justice.
First thing I ask a new client is, so you've been saving up for a rainy day? Guess what? It's raining.
The victim in this case is not only the Archbishop, it's also the people of Chicago.
Excuse me.
Law offices in Martinville.
You got the news on by any chance? I think everyone's gonna want this one.
There's one lawyer they love to hate.
Sell the book rights yet, or you gotta wait a while?
Now tell me, counselor, which one of us is the true headline chaser here?
Unlike you, I was assigned to this case.
You know who I am?
No, sir, I don't.
Don't you read the papers?
Richard Gere.
I speak. You do not speak. Your job is just to sit there and look innocent.
Well, I am innocent.
That's it. That's exactly how I want you to look. Can you remember that? Look in the mirror if you have to.
Even when the headline is murder.
There was someone else in that room.
There was a third person? That's the worst story I've ever heard in my entire life. Now it's our story.
He's the one.
You want to go one-on-one with me? I don't lose.
What's the matter, Marty? Been a while since you rubbed up against a woman with a brain?
Who's the real story.
Come on, ask it.
What about the truth?
The illusion of truth.
But he did kill him, right?
No, he didn't.
Don't tell me you think he didn't do it.
So how you gonna get him off?
I don't know. What do you think he's up to?
I honestly don't know.
I saw the tape. I know what he did to you.
Do you know what I would do if someone did that to me? I would stab him 78 times.
It's a mistake to stick your thumb in the eyes of the most powerful people in the city.
You're worse than the thugs you represent.
Objection, Your Honor.
Next thing you know, he'll be objecting if we want to bring in the murder weapon.
Well, now the chief brings it up.
You're on dangerous ground here.
You print any of this, I'll sue you an ass.
Primal Fear.
This is a cover story, right?
Yeah.
The murder of a high and mighty archbishop leads to the involvement of Martin Vale, Chicago's best attorney. As he studies the suspects, he becomes convinced of certain aspects, but there's more to the story than meets the eye.
It's a Transformers story, kind of.
Da-na. Look, just Richard Gere, Laura Linney, Ed Norton's debut. I mean,
Yeah, Andre Braugher. I mean,
Andre
Alfred
Braugher
Woodard.
going allegedly. More Tierney.
Yeah.
John Mahoney.
Terry O'Quinn.
Yes. I don't like. Can we have more of these, please?
Oh, yeah.
More of these fucking movies. Remember when they used to make movies like this? And you could go to this place called the theater to watch these movies?
Was this...
And no one knew about the ending. And so you could be like, hey, have you seen Primal Fear? And they're like, no, like, sit down.
So this wasn't... Was this based on a novel?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Was it like a Thoreau novel or...
William Deal
was
the writer, yeah.
There's like a handful of like people who were writing like legal pot boilers.
Right,
like,
right.
Yeah, so if it wasn't Thoreau or Grisham, then it was probably Deal. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking like when you brought this up, I'm like, this is no question. This fucking is a banger from
I know,
jump.
I know,
like,
but I just wanted another chance to like watch it and talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, like so talk about like is it George Hibbolt or Hoblet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, what a fucking like solid 7.5 career,
right?
Man. Like,
right?
Because he does this. This is his first. I mean, like, obviously, he's been doing a ton of like TV work and cop work and TV work. Hill Street Blues.
I mean, like, right? Didn't he do like NYPD Blue too, or like
yeah? So he was
that would have been later.
He was a Botchko guy. Like, I mean, like, and so he does. This is his film debut, and then he does Fallen. He does Frequency, which is a solid fucking movie.
Yeah.
And then like nothing, like even the stuff that he's like Heart's War, still pretty decent. And then he did, what was the last one that he did?
Fracture,
which is again, like none of these movies that are like crazy great, but I mean like a really, really solid film.
But like they're watchable.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like even if you come into a room and it's on TV, you're like, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch this. Right. Or if someone's like, hey, let's watch Fracture. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you got the Gauze and Hopkins. I mean, like, just going at it, right?
Right. And Fallen, you've got Denzel and John Goodman
and Gandolfini,
no, that's right, and Gandolfini
and Elias Koteas.
Well, I mean,
wildly underrated actor.
That one sold me. No, I think you're right. Actually, there's no Hector Elizondo.
That's true. That is true.
I cannot say his name.
It is hard to say. But so we start off with Billy Flynn, I guess. I mean, like, but Martin Vale, and he's What the fuck is he doing?
He's doing an interview. He's getting ready to go out.
Right, for the city gala, for the fundraiser for the church.
Yeah, for the church, right? So he's doing this interview with this guy for a magazine, Chicago magazine, and Mauritania's like, "You're late," and he's like, "Whatever." But this is what I love about this guy's character, right? Is he doesn't give a shit. Right. He doesn't fucking care if he's late. Of course he's going to be late. They're waiting for him.
He's
right?
Chicago's most famous lawyer.
I mean, everyone's waiting for him. That's all that matters, right? But so we open with that, and then we just kind of follow him to this gala, and then we meet like the players.
We meet everybody. There's the Archbishop. What's his name? Richmond.
Yeah.
We've got O'Shaughnessy, which is the city like. He's not the mayor, but he's like the city.
I mean, is he? Yeah, he's like
I don't know. He's like
comptroller. Yeah. I don't know.
He used to be the district attorney, right? Or like the city's attorney or whatever. But like, now he's moved up in the world, right?
And whatever. I mean, Chicago politics are weird. Like, do you know what an alderman is? Because I really don't.
I don't either. Okay. No. And that's what Terry O'Quinn is, right? He's the DA. Okay, he's right. That's right, because that's
he's
where
the
Laura
DA.
Linney works for.
But we meet. So not Pinheiro, but Pinheiro's friend, who is an alderman.
Right.
And I forget that character's name.
Manny or Zinny or something like Luis
Martinez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Martinez. I know.
We couldn't put it more on the nose.
No.
And then, in the background, we've got a young Edward Norton singing in the choir. And then Laura Linney, who is the assistant district attorney, who should have been like, how did Laura Linney never end up on Law and Order?
No, she was.
She was on Law and Order? Not as an assistant DA.
No, but for like an episode or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
So like early in her career, I think she did.
That's the running gag though, right? Is that like every actor who's in New York has a couple of Law and Order bit parts on their resume.
Yeah.
Because how are you ever going to fucking check that out?
Oh, Frances McDormand is in this too.
Oh yeah, we fucking forgot.
Right, completely forgot about
Franny
her.
Mac.
Franny Mac. Also, like Laura, this is really the start of like Laura Linney's career and run.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, but she's like, why? I still don't think she has been. I say this a lot probably in this podcast, but she should be bigger.
She should have
had a bigger, better career.
Yeah, because this kind of feels like a Helen Hunt type of career at the moment, right?
Yeah.
She had a very brief moment and did a lot of stuff in that moment, but then like granted, here's the thing. She was in Ozark. I mean, like she's not like she's faded away.
No, but I don't think she ever like really hit like why didn't Laura Linney win an Oscar?
Yeah.
Why didn't she have a role that she could have won an Oscar for? I guess that's my question. Because I don't think she really did she?
I mean, if we go back through her filmography, there's probably one or two that
she was in the Amy Mann Charmer video.
That's
probably
that one.
That's probably it. No, but so she was what? No, that was a TV miniseries, right? But so she was in this. She was in The Squid and the Whale. She was in Mystic River, right?
Yeah, okay.
Was she nominated for Love Actually? I don't think she was.
I don't believe so. No.
Like The Life of David Gale.
Talk about a fucking...
No, I know.
Here's the problem with those Kevin Spacey films is they all seem like shit now. Like they all like, if we go back and look at them, like...
Right.
And can we... I don't want to detract, but I will.
That's okay.
Like we have to dive into that Armie Hammer podcast.
Okay, yeah, no, we do. You're right. No, absolutely.
That is the fucking... craziest shit.
We're gonna have to like devote like a segment on each episode. Like,
just
so it'll just be like, I don't know. We'll have to come up with a name for it. Like, okay, now we're entering to the like not Armie Hammy time. Armie Hammy sandwich. I don't know. Armie Hammer corner or something, right? But we'll workshop a name and we'll have a segment, I think, every...
All I've seen is the TikTok segment so far. And like the first one started off with him talking about to Tom Arnold.
I know.
And it was like...
And he's like, I'm pretty handy. I painted all this and I did that. And you're just like...
People are... what the fuck is going on?
So, I mean, okay, we're gonna come back to Primal Fear, but wait, we're gonna talk about sort of
Armie,
guilt and innocence, right? So what did Armie Hammer do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. No. It's like this is so he
but
he talked about these like weird fantasies of like cannibalism, right?
But didn't he actually essay? I mean, like, wasn't he accused of essay, or was it just the fantasy stuff that scared people?
I thought it was just the fantasy stuff. I don't know. I don't want to. Because I'm not defending him, right? But I don't know. Why are you abbreviating sexual assault?
Because you have to do it on TikTok. I've gotten to TikTok mindset where you've got to say, you can't say the actual thing. You've got to say something else.
Listener, I want to talk to you. Just you for a moment.
Look, it's a problem. I get it. But
look, no one can see me like turn away from you either. Which I really commit to this bit, even though no one can see us, where I just take the microphone and swivel around like to the corner.
He's talking into a mirror.
Just like so we'll have to do our due diligence to see exactly what he was accused of. Or was there some kind of like, was he like holding somebody like against their will in his condo?
That sounds familiar.
It's something
right?
like that, right? So, but here's another question, and then I think we'll dig into more when we dig into Armie Hammer time corner sandwich. At what point do we forgive people? Like, at what point are people rehabilitated?
No, I'm with you. It just seems like this whole podcast seems so brash. And it seems like, I mean, I don't know. It just seems to fly in the face of what I would expect of this person at this particular point in time, where it's like, whoa, can you believe that crazy shit happened? And like, only a madman. Like, who could possibly believe something about somebody this good looking?
He is good looking.
He is fucking attractive.
But I mean, I do wonder if he's going to use that platform as a way to, all right, I'm going to use this word, to heal or to, make some kind of amends or show that he's become a better, different person, right? To work through some of whatever issues, because clearly he's got something going on there, right? So and that's not excusing anything that he's done.
Sure, right.
But so, I mean, if he's going to use it that way, I don't know. I mean, like...
Stay tuned, listener. We'll find out for you.
Yeah, but back to Primal Fear.
Back to Laura Linney and why she didn't have a bigger...
She's fucking great in this. Hey, she's so good.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I mean, like, even just the like first interaction with her and Gear is so good.
Well, this is like prime Gear time, right? Has
he ever been better?
I mean, like... Early Gear's pretty fucking.
Okay.
I mean,
right.
Gigolo's good.
Gigolo's great. Yes.
Like Pretty Woman's still pretty. I mean, like I don't know. Pretty Woman's kind of bland. I mean, like
right.
This is one of his best roles.
I really think
far.
This is like one of like Gear just being like full on Gear.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like you watch this, you're like, oh my God, he's so charming.
Never for a minute do I did not doubt that he's this guy in real life.
I know,
and I'm like,
I would sleep with you, 100%. Right. I'll dance with you, absolutely. Right. Come on, let's dance. Okay, yeah.
There's no music. I don't care.
That's fine. It's in my head. Believe me.
Let's go somewhere where we can smoke.
Like, and it's like George Michael. But like when he walks up to her and wraps his arms around her and he's like, turn around, and she just without missing a beat, she goes, "Thought you liked it this way. You don't have to look at people in the face."
Yeah, she's
so
good. She's like, everyone in this is good. Mm-hmm. Like everyone in this is good. Mm-hmm. It's even Panero, which I don't usually like. That I mean, like that's the guy who was Scarface's brother, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
Yeah, he was man. Yeah.
Like that's like he's great in this. Like that should be a Treat Williams role, like a Hispanic Treat Williams role. Like, but yeah, no, he's great in this. And I think I do have some detractions about this. I think the movie's bloated. I think at 2 hours and 5, I don't think you need the Pinheiro stuff in this movie at all.
That feels like something that got lifted from the book, right?
Right.
That's a subplot that's in a book that's more fleshed out.
Right. And it plays better when you're reading it over 300 to 400 pages rather than being, because then you see all of the political machinations and everything else. Yeah. And so this story seems wildly coincidental that the case that Martin Vale gets 40% of $1.5 million because they've done something incorrect. Like the cops have like mishandled a Pinheiro case or whatever. I can't remember.
They mishandled him.
Right. So
they beat the shit out of him.
Right.
Yeah. So they're suing like the city. Yeah.
And like and this is weird because the city like then comes back and says, well, we'll agree to 1.5, but he can't live here anymore. And there's like, I mean, we'll take the 1.5, but you can't tell him where to live. And
I know.
Like, all right, we'll just sign it. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. It's a gentleman's agreement. Yeah.
And,
okay. Yeah.
And then that happens to be the carrot that Martin uses as to show motive that someone else might have killed Archbishop Richmond.
Well, because that was part of like the failed land deal, right?
Yeah, right. But all that's way bloated. You don't need any.
But again, like
that.
I think in the book,
sure,
right?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You got to flesh out a book. I
yeah.
get it. I totally. But I would have cut that subplot out of this movie and made it.
But then you don't have his interaction with O'Shaughnessy. You don't have that antagonism.
True, but I don't think that adds anything to this at all. I don't think that John Mahoney, Richard Gere back and forth.
Yeah.
Like you already like one, you could get that from the porn tape.
Sure.
So you could have had where Gere and O'Shaughnessy are like, you know about the porn tape, don't fucking show it. This guy's this is a good man. He just had his flaws. Rather than how much money did you lose? That comeuppance of like, well, Pinheiro gets killed. Yeah. And nebulously gets killed. Like I don't know how that happens, but like,
I think we're meant to assume it was him in the cops. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then like, but it weirdly like. That's the only thing about this movie that I feel like it's like you didn't really need all of that.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, okay, well, it's all then too coincidental that the case that you had just before this completely ties into this, this pro bono murder case that you're going to take on.
That's how Chicago works.
It's just Chicago, man.
That's like Chicago law, Chicago politics. That's how it works.
So we get to the fundraiser. there's the choir. So all of our players are involved, and then we go we get the Pinheiro case settled, and then we go to Richmond's study. And he gets his fingers cut off in a very gruesome sequence. A lot of man nipple in that one, too.
A lot of man nipple. A lot.
So we see the Archbishop getting out of the shower and taking off his robe. And then he gets his fingers cut off and gets stabbed to death. And then the story starts, right? Yeah. We basically, are...
I mean, we're off and running, literally.
Right. Aaron Ed Norton's running out of the cathedral or whatever. And they capture him, and then it gets on TV as he's doing this interview. Martin sees it on the TV, and he takes his case pro bono because it's Chicago, baby, and it's and
it's going to make his name.
Right, he's got to
even
stay.
more. Yeah, and he's got a cover story coming out.
Right. And then they start. So here's the other thing about this is that do defense lawyers really then dig in and do a lot of PI work where they're for themselves? Where they're going to the crime scene, where they're going to, try to find, run down homeless teens to back up a story.
I know. So no, probably not. I'm just guessing. Right.
It makes it for a great movie. It doesn't. But credulity is a little off. But it's fine.
But I mean, again. Courtrooms don't function like that either.
True.
I mean, true. So I love that we pick and choose what we're going to pick on, right? And because no, that's not how courtrooms operate, but that's how they operate in every fucking film we've ever seen.
Right. So we find out that Aaron gets captured, and they try to posit that there could have been Aaron doesn't remember committing the murder, and he says that he categorically denies murdering the Archbishop.
He lost time.
He loses time. He wakes up, Archbishop is murdered. He runs out covered in blood. So Gere doesn't want to know if he really believes that or not. Doesn't want to know if he did it. He believes that, but he does kind of buy into his own bullshit at a certain point and starts to hunt down a potential third party. So he starts to tear apart the Archbishop, this good beloved Catholic figure in Chicago. And he's tied to these land deals that have gone south for a lot of big money players in Chicago. So that's kind of the motive that this could have been someone else. But also in the meantime, and again, another thing that how courts don't work, this wouldn't have just like, they wouldn't have put him immediately to trial. They would have given Martinvale time for Franny Mac to sit down with Aaron for a while and figure their shit out so they could actually come up with a plausible, plea essentially. But they plea out that he's not guilty. And then they start to do this psychological evaluation. And it turns out that Aaron has a split personality. And that
named Roy.
And Roy is the guy who's the tough badass who, takes care of Aaron. Yeah. Which Roy knows Aaron. Aaron does not know Roy. That's another thing that gets really played.
Right.
Like that should have been Martin's first clue.
Right. Like, wait, you don't know? That's not... Yeah. And Frances McDormand probably should have known that too.
Yes. And also Alex and Linda, you never really get to see Linda because Linda gets killed, but like Alex at some point
would have been
like, yeah, no, he's a psychopath. Like,
yeah, what the fuck? Stay away from that dude. Yeah, of course he did it.
He did do it, right? Yeah.
No, absolutely. There's a reason I'm running.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it turns out and so we get the split personality, but we also find out that Archbishop Richmond has been filming his youthful wards in sexual tapes. Like basically, he's been filming them and forcing them to have sex with one another, threesomes with one another, for his own sexual pleasure. Mm-hmm. And he keeps these tapes in his study, and that's the impetus of why Aaron decided to kill. Or Roy decided to kill, and Roy also leaves clues as to why he killed Archbishop Richmond.
He carves in a Dewey Decimal number, right?
That leads to an underlined passage about the duality of man
and Faulkner and man wearing masks.
I don't like Faulkner. I don't like Faulkner, Mr. Vale.
I never read about. I don't like Faulkner. I tried to read that one of his.
I couldn't get through it. I hated Grapes of Wrath. Like, why don't more people do Aaron?
I don't know.
Like, why is that not or Roy for that matter? Come on, Marty.
God damn it, Marty. Where's your head, counselor?
Well, that's Linda just had it coming, Marty.
What is it? I just had to kill her. I knew exactly what you wanted. We were playing the way we work so well together.
Yeah, it's like, why isn't that a more mimicked character in popular culture?
I know.
That seems like it seems like such a slam dunk too, and they're not hard to do. Like
no. One you just yell like in a bad Southern accent. Right. And the other you stutter around.
So we know now we've got motive of why Roy / Aaron killed the Archbishop, but they can't plead that he's innocent by reason of insanity because they didn't plead that at the beginning. So now they've got to kind of backdoor that plea in, and so they get the tapes admitted into evidence via Laura Linney. And then they coerce Aaron to change into Roy on stand in the hopes of creating a mistrial. Yeah. And then being able to go back to the well and saying he's innocent by reason of insanity. So Roy comes out on the stand. He nearly breaks Laura Linney's neck, and the entire jury is poisoned. Alfred Woodard says, I'm going to go to a bench trial, and I'm going to you can either go to a mistrial and we can retry it, or I'm going to take this as a bench trial and I'm going to have him sentenced to this mental institution for a longer, and they can tell us how long he's going to be there. And Laura Linney says, he'll be out in a month. And she's like, take it up with the legislature. And I was like, hey, preach on, sister. Like, it's right. And then that's basically what happened. So then Vale goes to see Aaron in jail, and he's like, hey, you're going to go to the hospital for a while, but you're going to be good. We got, you're going to be found, you were found not innocent by reason of insanity, or not innocent, yeah, by reason of insanity. And he's like, that's great. Now tell Laura Linney that I'm sorry about her neck. I hope her neck feels okay. And then Richard Gere's like, I think I'm undercutting the twist of this movie and how really how powerful it was.
But that's okay. Yeah.
But so the whole idea is, as we've gone through this entire thing, and I'm sure everyone's seen Primal Fear, but as you've gone through all of this, you've thought Aaron was the primary character here, and that Roy really was a split personality, and that Aaron was innocent by reason of insanity. But it turns out it's been Roy all along.
All along. It was Roy all along. Jesus, I knew exactly what you wanted from me. It was like we were dancing, Marty.
Come on, Marty. Come
on,
Marty.
Don't be like that,
Don't
Marty.
be like that, Marty.
We did it, man.
We got a good thing going here.
We fucking did it. We're a great team.
I don't mind telling you, counselor, if you believe that. There is no Aaron.
You started to care about old Aaron.
Fucking Norton.
I can understand that, but love hurts.
Like, where the fuck has he been up until this point? Like,
this was his debut.
Where the fuck had he been? Like, this is a killer. Like, has there been another debut like this?
No.
Yeah.
No. So, well, here's the thing, though. This was, what year was this?
97.
97. Paramount gave the role to DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Right?
And DiCaprio was like, because he was tired of,
this is problematic. I'm not going to do it.
Well, I thought he was like tired from his What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
No, he said that the script was I read that he was like, the script's problematic. I don't want to do it. Right? Whatever. Right? But like, so is Norton out there and just losing out to people like that?
Yeah,
is he just losing roles because of the kind of dearth of?
Because I read Damon wanted this badly too,
right?
And he was like, he didn't get this, and he was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna write my own movie." Because we were just getting killed by they're just throwing all these parts to the wolves.
So like the whole time, right? You got DiCaprio, you got Damon, you got Norton, you got
who else turned this down?
Chris O'Donnell.
Is Wheaton. Will Wheaton turned this role down. It was him like that. And he turned it down because he was doing his acting school and he didn't want to let his students like that was a huge mistake on Whedon's part.
But here's the thing, like, do you think Will Wheaton could have done this?
I don't know.
So I guess that's what, like, so...
I mean, like, Stand By Me Wheaton? Yeah, I think Stand By Me Wheaton could have done this.
Okay.
Like Wesley Crusher, Star Trek Next Generation, but like, I don't think that guy could have done this.
Right, but like, where would Wheaton have been in 97?
Yeah, he would have been Star Trek
Next Generation. That's what I mean. So, like, yeah. I mean, so...
And maybe, I don't really want to badmouth him as an actor either, but I mean, like...
That's not what I mean, right? But like, could Damon have done this?
I don't think so at this point. His best role to date had been like either School Ties or Courage Under Fire, really. I mean, like...
Right. So that's that. Yeah, that wasn't a slight against Will Wheaton. I just think that like this was almost like lightning in a bottle.
Right.
I mean, this was kind of like faded, I guess. But yeah, I mean, around this time you had all of those young actors going after all of these parts. Right, I mean, School Ties was another one, and they're like all in it, right? Right, they're all in that film.
But it's a crazy cast
all of
too.
Those guys were going after the same parts, and it's something like Good Will Hunting too, right? You had a bunch of the same guys going for that same, a bunch of those guys in that film were still going after all the same parts. I mean, Cole Hauser.
Yeah,
wasn't he in School Ties too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like everybody was in. I mean, like Anthony Rapp was in School Ties. It's like, and a lot of those dudes like. That you saw in other things, but didn't ever like really ever pop. Like this, there was one guy that was still in like, I think he was in Dead Poet Society as well. And that, I mean, like, so like you would have still had Hawk kind of doing that same type of shit too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know who auditioned for this? The Beak, baby. Jimmy VD.
Do it.
I've been waiting all day. I don't know if I'm able to pull myself together to do it.
Marty, I do not want
Double Team Melinda on tape might have been, for Archbishop Richmond might have been those. Double Team Melinda on videotape for Archbishop Richmond had been the opportunity of Aaron's life. I did not want Aaron's life. I got so excited when I saw that. I was just like, oh my God. Why wasn't James Vanderbeek in this?
That's what this podcast has come to. It's just
fantasizing roles where James Vanderbeek can be in them.
Oh man. No, the twist in this was huge. I mean, anyone who saw this was like, oh, this was like a real quote unquote like water cooler film where once you saw it, you were just like, oh my god, did you? And you couldn't stop talking. I mean, in that way, it was similar to like a Blair Witch kind of thing where. Yeah. I mean, the reveal. This was just so talked about.
Well, and this is 2 years before Sixth Sense, before anybody's really talking about like twist movies. So like, this pulls the fucking rug, and like in the best way possible. Well. It's so well. It's so well. It's so good. Like as he's walking away, I'm just you now. I'm just like, I'm just gonna say the same things that you say. but that sequence where Marty realizes it and comes back in, and that moment where you still believe, oh, maybe like something happened, like in its air, and then he just does that slow clap with his hand. It's just like
I just couldn't resist.
Right.
And you look so proud of yourself.
Right. It's like so good as he goes back and forth.
But it's like you miss it as a viewer too.
Yeah.
Right. You don't, like, cause you're right. You're with Gere's character where you don't catch it except when you're like, oh wait, oh shit.
Well, and I mean like Norton completely fucking sells it.
Yeah.
Like the dichotomy between Aaron and Roy is so good.
Yeah.
That whole stutter, like, you know,
in the affect, like the bodily,
right,
like, you know, movements as well. He's so, even in that last moment where he's like, you know, tell her I'm sorry about her neck, and he sits back down and he's just looking like this kind of dud of a guy, and you just like sunken into himself.
But you can also see in that moment where like he looks up and is like, oh fuck, did I kind of like, yeah.
What?
Yeah, so good. Like this movie fucking, like, I mean, it legit, like I said, outside of all of the things you could potentially nitpick about it, it spins by fast at 2 hours and 5. Like it's just, and Gere is the perfect guy for this role. Like we talk about Norton, but Gere is amazing.
He's so good in this.
And just his interplay and his charisma that just kind of washes through this. And like, because you forgive all the bullshit. Like you forgive like what kind of a smarmy piece of shit he probably actually is, right?
And there's this change in the character, but you wonder how much there really is.
Right.
Like, even though he doesn't go out the front to like get all the press and attention, he kind of, you know, it goes out the back. You still wonder, like, the next morning, is he out looking for the next kind of big case? Right. How long does that change kind of last? So yeah, I mean, no, he's so good. It's just man, totally bangs. 30 million budget, 100 million box office. Yeah.
The one thing that stood out to me is funny is when Gere gives the tape, I'm going to say Brar gives the tape and puts it outside of Laura Linney's door, and she calls him and she's like, barleycorns right now.
Yeah.
And they go to this bar.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, Scotty, or whatever the fucking bartender's name is. She's like, give me my regular, or like, give me the usual.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Bud Light.
I know.
Like, it's easier to say Bud Light than
my usual.
And if that's your usual at a Chicago bar, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Right. Well, I mean, like, also, I don't know, like that.
I was just like, wait a minute. I thought there was going to be some sort of like cool drink that comes up.
Or like something in a rocks glass.
Yes. Not a
bottle of Bud Light.
Not a commercial that shows up, a product placement. Because it's full on labeled to the screen.
Scotty looks at the camera. When I go to a Chicago bar, what I really want is a cool, cold Bud Light.
Real drinkers know that Bud Light's the key. Bud Light's the game.
Yeah.
I do like a central character that smokes a lot. Is always looking for a place to smoke.
Absolutely.
Another thing that made me laugh is, and again, I know that this is probably just a Chicago
girls with cigarettes.
Yes, a Chicago affectation, but at the end when Alfre Woodard has left her office and Laura Linney is about to smoke in that office and she's shaking and she can't get it lit. Gear takes the lighter from her and then holds the wind.
Because I know
for the cigarette. And I'm like,
you're inside.
It's fine. It's
a habit, though, right?
I'm sure in Chicago.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did you ever smoke?
Yeah, I mean, not like I mean, when I would drink.
Okay. I mean, so yeah, I was a 2-pack a day smoker. I know. Like Marlboro Reds or Pall Mall non-filters. So when I was on a real bender, when I was drinking, it was Pall Mall non-filters, right? But when I was just like, regularly drunk, then it was Marlboro Reds. But it was a habit. Like you would always like, even if you're inside, right? You just did it. Yeah, I mean, because you're used to that. But yeah, no, I know. You're inside. What are you doing?
I only needed a lighter for the first one because I just smoked them back to back, so I would just light one of them off the other one.
You're such a badass.
As I'm smoking American
as I
Spirits.
sound like I've had like a pack of Pall Malls, right? Like you used to smoke? Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's like
I just smoke Virginia Slims because fuck you. That's why. I've come a long way.
Smoke bitches and hoes. Vincent Hedges. Sorry. Anyway, wow. Okay.
Do you think
I love this movie?
Do you think it was better when you could advertise cigarettes and liquor, or do you think it's better now that all we ever advertise is for-profit drugs? Or is it all the same?
Like I mean, it's all self-medication, right? It's all like you call up your doctor, hey, I want to try this new commercial I just saw, right?
Right.
Or you know what, I'm going to go get a bottle of Jack.
What's the one with all the people dancing in it? That
I want that one.
Right.
But the side effects might be death. I don't care.
Right.
Give me that one.
That's what is their drug just doesn't cause death, because that's what I'm looking for.
And they're all dancing because the drug doesn't let them have sex. Okay, cool. All right.
Right.
That sounds awesome.
Give me 2 of those.
But I'll be quote unquote happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know why I quit drinking. It's ridiculous. I'm kidding.
Like I stepped into a bear trap here.
I know.
Let's just try Ozempic. But it's fine.
Just joke. Yeah. No.
Right.
It was a joke. It was a joke. I do think so. Like in this movie, I was never like, for me, the tension was never, did Ed Norton's character do it? I always thought like, of course, but like, what's the, okay, so now what do we find out, right? Why did he do it? Or like, what else is there going on?
Yeah, this is always like, how is Marty going to get him off?
Yeah, it was never like, oh, who did it? It was never like a who done it, right? Okay, I just want to make sure that, because that's how I always
it's funny to me, like thinking like as we've progressed, because I always felt like Brar was like a guy, like he was always good and always like big, like he and the same thing with Alfre Woodard. Like I always felt like how it was, she's just always been around, right? And she's just always been really good, and like, and this is like a small role she took as a favor to somebody. But like
right, but no.
Yeah, it's and that actually, that role supposedly, I guess in the book, is a old white man. So good on
them for like changing it.
Yeah.
Was Brower, so this was 97. Brower would have been in what by this point? Glory?
The Last Supper. Like,
okay.
I mean, like indie shit. Like, yeah. Like nothing. I'm not sure what else, to be honest.
When was Hamburger Hill? Wasn't he in that?
94.
So it would have been okay.
Then yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like,
so he would have had like, I guess, smaller roles and stuff, right? By that point, Glory would have been the big one,
right? Which
like
was
the bigger film.
What, 95, 96? Or was that sooner than that? Was that like
no? It was like 89.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to see what else he was in. Yeah, Primal Fear. But Primal Fear is like really... Oh, City of Angels.
Okay.
What a piece of shit movie.
I have a
hard time. Like, really, then it was like Homicide, right?
Yeah.
And then he was on Get on the Bus.
Okay. I like that movie.
Yeah, no, right.
I'm a Lee apologist for the most part, though, so I like most of what he does. Yeah. I was thinking... Like it's hard for me to badmouth Meg Ryan films, so just in general, like not all of them, but like City of Angels, yeah, I mean compared to the original It's
it's garbage. It sucks. Come on, man. Look. Not
fair,
compared to the original. It's not good.
I have not seen it since I saw it in the theaters.
I saw it in high school, and I was like, "This is not good."
I had such a thing for Meg Ryan that was just hard for me to like separate it.
Right. But you can still like her and be like, "This movie sucks." I'm not going to stop watching it.
You know what's an underrated Meg Ryan film? Was Addicted to Love with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
One of the later like rom-coms that she was in.
No, she's great. She can come on the podcast anytime.
Oh, no, she can't. I couldn't handle it.
Oh, you'd be fine.
I don't know if I would or not.
You'd be fine. You'd be fine. You'll be fine.
Man.
But I mean, I don't think she's going to come on our podcast, though.
I bet she might.
You think?
I don't know. I'll ask.
I mean, we can. Yeah, give her a call.
I'll reach out.
Who was it that called you?
You know, Aaron Gray. Can we get Aaron Gray on the podcast?
Right. Yeah, sure.
Hey, you called me one time.
Yeah, she's going to remember.
You legit dialed my phone number.
You were like, "Yo, is this Jason?" No, City of Angels is not a good movie.
It's
not.
I
just don't want to.
Who directed City of Angels?
Silberling. Brad Silberling.
God, he sucks.
Yeah.
As we do his filmography next.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've been dying to do him.
Yeah, we have.
All right. So still bangs.
Absolutely still bangs. So go check it out, listener. If you haven't seen Primal Fear, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I think it's on Paramount Plus if you have access to Paramount Plus.
And if you don't, Jason will give you his password.
I don't have a password to it, but
okay. Well, apparently, I'll give you my password.
Is there anything you don't subscribe to? You seem like you subscribe to a lot.
No shit. I know. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I got to stop because it's like I can't really afford it. I tell myself I do it for this podcast, which seems like a dumbass thing to do. So
I'm going broke for you people.
But here's the thing. So like what happens is a lot of it revolves around sports.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't have to have anything, but if I want to watch, and I'm a big Liverpool fan, right? Mm-hmm. So if I want to watch certain Premier League soccer matches, or if I want to watch Liverpool games, then I have YouTube TV, which then gives me access to the other things right. But if I also want to watch Champions League football, that's only on Paramount Plus. So then I subscribe to that. If I want to watch a lot of the NWSL games, those are also on Paramount Plus or Amazon Prime, right? And if I want to watch basketball, you see where I'm going here. Yeah. So, and then of course, then it's like, we've got the Disney Plus bundle. Mm-hmm. So you can't really get rid of, it makes no sense to hold on to ESPN Plus and not, you see where I'm going. So I have too many and I hate it and I don't know what to do about it. But I'm not going to get rid of Mubi or Criterion.
Right,
because that gives me my snob cred. And no, it's stupid, and I got to figure out a better way to budget this shit because it's not cheap, and everything keeps going up. And Netflix sucks, but we have Netflix. So.
You can't not have Netflix, right? I mean, it's just
right. Then people are like, "What do you mean you don't have Netflix?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Right.
What do you mean? So anyway, yeah. Right. Let's move on to Kelly Reichardt's Certain Women.
I've never done this before. I guess we'll just start at the beginning.
Hey, Flint.
What are you doing here?
Came to see my lawyer. My wife wants me out of the house.
You can't keep coming here.
Your wife works for you.
No, she's the boss, actually.
I wonder how much more there might be buried here. I was so afraid I'd get out of law school and be selling shoes. My mom works in a school cafeteria, my sister in a hospital laundry, so selling shoes is the nicest job a girl from my family's supposed to get.
Let's you and I make an effort to be nice to your mom today.
Why?
Because neither of us do very well without her.
We were
wondering about the sandstone in the front yard. I mean, if you wanted to get rid of it, we'd take it off your hands.
You don't have to sell it if you don't want to. It's just that Gina wants this new house to be authentic.
Hey, Will, good news. Your lawyer's here.
No one understands what my life has become.
I don't mean to keep you from getting to work or anything. I just knew if I didn't start driving, I wasn't going to see you again. Didn't want that.
It'd be so lovely to think that if I were a man, people would listen and say, okay. It would be so restful.
The lives of 3 women intersect in small town America, where each is imperfectly blazing a trail.
Imperfectly blazing.
What a stupid fucking word. What a stupid word. But I love this movie. I really love this movie. I mean, look, it's got Lily Gladstone and Kristen Stewart in scenes together.
Right. Yeah, why is it taking Lily Gladstone so long to pop?
I don't know. Because she is absolutely amazing in this film.
And has she popped, really?
No.
Like, not enough.
Not enough. And because even though she got, again, attention for Killers of the Flower Moon, she got completely, like, sidetracked in that film. I mean, she just got, like, put aside in that movie. And wasn't allowed to really, do as much as she was able to. Apparently in this film, Kristen Stewart went up to Kelly Reichardt and was like, who is this?
Really?
Yeah. And she was like, I have to be better because she's so good.
Yeah, I mean,
which is awesome, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, I mean, I heard Kelly Reichardt say this in an interview, and she didn't say it in these words exactly, but it kind of sounded like Kristen Stewart was going to be able to just kind of come in and like breeze through it, and be sort of like the best on the screen. And then she was like, oh shit, oh man, I better do something different. So yeah, which was cool.
You know how I said, I can hear myself saying words, nonetheless, again, how they come across. I don't know if you recall or not, but when I talked about River of Grass and how like confident that is for a first film.
Yeah.
It translates 100% to certain women.
Yes.
Like the confidence that it takes to have these sequences on screen, have them in the way that you have them, and this be your film is out fucking standing. It's incredible. And I understand why. I understand like if this is not your bag, then it's not going to work for you. But I think this voyeuristic camera that she sets up and just lets these lives be.
Okay, that's voyeuristic. That's an interesting. No. I mean, and I don't mean to be like, what do you mean, Jason? Right. I think that's an interesting choice, though. I think so. I wrote down observant.
Okay, yeah,
but I mean, like, I don't
think I want to argue one way or the other.
Okay,
okay. I mean, I don't mean it from a perspective.
Well, I mean, you are creepier than I am, so that's fair.
Right. Yes, that is true. I think. I mean, maybe it's the same thing in this case. It's more of just opening up things. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's just
it just watches though, right?
Yeah. Peering through a window is, I guess, how I'm
right. I mean, which is what I mean. Like, you like to look through people's windows,
right? I was doing it earlier today.
Yeah, which was strange. I was like, we all know you're here.
I just needed to know if you were home or not. I didn't want to disturb anything.
Yeah.
You watch a lot of sports. I didn't know if the game was over or not.
No, you're right. The sports game was on. Yay, sports.
Anyway, I'll stand by what I said. A voyeuristic look into the lives of these women.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you do get like the somewhat ugly side of these things.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
Laura Dern's having an affair. Michelle Williams arguably could be taking advantage of an elder man who doesn't know if he wants to sell his sandstone or not.
Yeah, who also fell and hit his head.
it's funny to me that we picked Reichardt as a person, because these films are definitely worth watching. Also extremely difficult to talk about in regards to like, there's no fucking plot here. No. This is just certain women.
Yeah, and we're just watching them.
It's so good though. It's so
it's like I think that this is one of her. And look, it'll be really interesting to sit down again and watch First Cow and Showing Up.
Yeah,
which I really liked upon first viewing. But so it'll be interesting to see going back to them. But this one, to me, I mean, is this her best film?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
I mean, so between
far,
like those three, that's kind of what I'm wondering, because this one for me has always just been like, it's just so meticulous in its kind of unshowiness, right? Because it's not doing anything. Where I think Night Moves, right, is kind of a quote unquote misstep in certain ways.
Sure.
This is like a return to form and then a step up, right?
Yeah.
And this is just such a like quiet, observant, but like pitch perfect sort of approach.
Like where you can see what she was doing with Old Joy and Wendy and Lucy. Like you said, this is way more, I think this is more confident on every level from everyone who's participating in it. Like this to me seems like Michelle Williams knows what she's doing way more than what she did. And she was brilliant in Wendy and Lucy. But
and
here,
Meeks.
Meeks. But here, it's, I mean, it like, if you, and I know this is acting, right? But if you didn't tell me that Michelle Williams was Michelle Williams, like, it's not like, I mean, like, you feel like you are there. You feel like this is just, and there's just something to be said about these, like, this normalization of these experiences that these women face. And like, and it doesn't, what's so brilliant about it is it doesn't call itself out.
Right.
It doesn't show you that, I mean, it does, it shows you, but you need to pick up that Laura Dern is frustrated with her male client because he won't fucking listen to her because she's a female lawyer. And the moment that he gets in front of a male lawyer, he's like, oh, okay, well, I get it. It's fine. We'll just drop this case. And
but it's not fine.
Right. Then but that was right. So then he goes off and he's like,
see, because this is something, and I mean, I'm with you, but I always wondered about that. Like, is he saying okay because it's a male lawyer, or is he saying okay because he's always known, but he just doesn't want to give up? And he really is latched on to her, that she's become almost like this surrogate, not wife, but more like mother figure to him, right? Which again is still like a frustration and not any kind of lesser misogyny. It's still that kind of, but do you know, I mean, I think there's a complication there in that relationship.
Yeah, I never actually looked at it, because if you look at the epilogue version of this, it does seem like, one, his wife is getting exacerbated, but he probably feel like his wife is pulling away from him anyway. Yeah. And now that Laura Dern has become frustrated with him, he's got to escalate because he can understand that at a certain point, if two people have told him the exact same thing, that this relationship's about to end.
Yeah.
The only way for him to continue to stay, I didn't really think about it, but that's pretty fucking awesome. Like,
the
only way he can stay in this lawyer's life is to commit a crime. And then when he goes to jail, he's disappointed that she didn't write him back.
Yeah.
And that he's so excited about like her coming to see him and visit him in prison or whatever, wherever the hell he ended up. But that's really good. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, like in the epilogue for all of them, I mean, the Lily Gladstone one's fucking heartbreaking. It's just so like, but the Michelle Williams one, which is the shortest one out of all of them, where she doesn't feel feels undermined by her husband with her daughter, and not really respected and undermined by her husband, period, in regards to all of it. And then this idea of like coming back around when they've got the sandstone and like feeling guilty for fucking over this old man. But still, why should she have to feel guilty? It wasn't like she really did anything wrong. But and then her leading the entirety of the house building while her family's inside of a tent watching TV and waiting for her to feed them. Like, fuck you.
I know. Yeah, I know. But she's also just out there like on the bed of her truck or the tailgate of her SUV, whatever. And she just like, has a cigarette and pours herself what looks like a glass of wine, right?
Yeah.
But then also looks over this stuff, this sandstone, and then like the plot of land, and feels, or looks like she feels confident and satisfied,
right?
And sort of like, yeah, I can see what this is going to be.
And also
like.
a husband
this is
that's
going to be like mine,
cheating on her too, right?
Yeah.
That the moment in. God damn. I mean, like Gladstone's portion of the film, and if you haven't seen it, she works this ranch, and she's basically all alone all day long.
Yeah, it's a wintertime job where she's there to like take care of the stock and feed the horses.
The most amazing looking horse ever with that white face and the brown body. It was just like, holy shit, where'd you find that horse? Like Kristen Stewart should have said, she's like, where did that come from? I've got to be better than that horse.
God, I have to like step up my game.
First Lily, and then now this horse.
I love that whole story though.
Yeah.
Right? Where
she just
Gladstone just goes to this.
She saw people going into this building. And so she just goes to this class, and it's all a bunch of teachers wanting to know what the law, what
school law
is.
And their questions are so fucking dumb. Can a student just say anything to me? And Kristen was like, I don't really know.
They're also like one on top of each other. Like they ever get a chance to answer.
I know.
And Stewart's driving 4 hours to teach this course, and she's had been made to do it from her law firm. It's kind of like
she took the job
because she wanted a job, right? She was scared of not having one.
Yeah. So she took this job when it was offered. Then she got a job at a firm, and they were like, "Okay, you can do it, but just because we think it's funny."
Right. And so Gladstone befriends her, shows her where the diner is, takes her out on her horse.
We got to slow down. We have to slow down there because this is, they go sit at a diner, right? So everyone leaves and Lily Gladstone just kind of sitting there, and like Kristen Stewart's like, Are you registered for this class? And she's like, no, just saw people kind of coming in, so I joined them. And she's like, it's cool, you can stay. Like, I hope you come back next. So there's this kind of like, she's already sort of like, you seem like a friendly face. And then she's like, is there anywhere to eat? And she's like, I can show you to the diner, like follow me. She's like, okay. But they're sitting there, and Lily Gladstone's not eating. She's just sitting there. And Kristen Stewart is eating this cheeseburger and just talking. Right, just talking like all the time. Holy shit! Did you see how she wiped her face?
Yeah.
She picked up the napkin was still wrapped around the silverware, and I just thought that was, I don't know if that was a mistake or what, but it was brilliant. Anyway, so she's just sitting there, like just watching her eat and listening to her talk, and then they go again, right? And then they talk more, or do they talk more this first time, and then? Does she bring the horse the second time or the third time?
I think it's the third time because they have it. Yeah.
Right. And so, they go again. They go and they sit, and she doesn't eat again. Right. But we see her like the first time stop at a gas station and pick up like
a burger, basically.
Basically just something to eat in the car. Right. And I think this is really interesting. Like, is she self-conscious to eat in front of her? Right. Or is there something else? But I don't know. I think that's something else telling. But yeah. And so they talk again. They have like a deeper kind of conversation. And that's where you find out that like Lily Gladstone doesn't know anybody, and she's just lonely, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's why she's there. She's just lonely. She's like, I don't know anybody here. And then the third time she brings the horse, which is just so romantic. It's such a gesture, such a lovely like romantic gesture. She's like, because at this point it's like the diner has been established, right? They're gonna go eat,
right?
And so she's like, here, I'll give you a ride to the diner, not in my truck. And then they get on this horse and they just ride to the diner, and it's just so adorable. No, I just love it.
And then at some point, Kristen Stewart stops doing the class.
Yeah.
She finds somebody else to do the class. And Lily Gladstone drives 4 hours to find her.
Tracks her down.
And then says goodbye to her in a parking lot. And it's like, I don't want to keep you from work. And Kristen Stewart has no words for her at this point.
I know. I mean, she says, Kristen Stewart says, well, I was going to tell you, like at the diner, and like couldn't bring herself to tell her. Right. And then Lily Gladstone, what did she say? She's like, you weren't at class, and I couldn't, the last time I saw you couldn't be the last time because I didn't get to tell you goodbye or something. She's like, I couldn't have that.
Right.
And like, there's just no response.
Yeah. And Lily, they just stand there, and then
she's like, well,
she just says nothing and walks away. Lily turns back to her truck and has like her eyes start to well, but that's really about it.
Yeah. And then she falls asleep on the way.
And then she falls asleep. Do you ever get nervous? Like anytime anybody drives in movies, I always expect there to be like a unexpected wreck.
Yeah. I get nervous when Lily Gladstone talked to Kristen Stewart. That's when I get nervous. I'm just kind of like, I don't want to hear this. No, that's when I get nervous. But yeah, you're kind of like, oh my God, is she going to die in a fiery crash?
Right, which I know is not a Reichardt. Like that's not going to have something.
It's not a hallmark of a Reichardt film, right? Right.
Yeah, and then there's the epilogue, right? And we see Dern at the jail with her client,
Jared Harris.
We see Michelle Williams and James LaGrosse, and then we see Lily, working the farm still. I kept thinking that Corgi was going to like get hit by the.
I know, me too.
The Corgi was dancing around that tractor a little bit too easily.
Yeah, I know. I was like, don't hit the dog. Or like, dog, don't run under the tire.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to like pinpoint this film, like what is really the best part. I mean, and I think it's because the four actresses are so amazing, and Lily is so like, I mean, like it's just crazy to me that it took this long for her to get a huge role, like, and it wasn't even
because this was 2016,
right? And like, why hasn't someone given her a lead? I mean, I know that she's gotten lead in indie stuff, but like, why isn't she broken through?
No, I know. I wonder if she's picking and choosing.
And it could be that. It could be that. But man, she's so fucking good in this.
Oh, she's that first time in the diner, I don't think she says a word. She just sits there
and smiles
and everything,
a little bit,
and you're just kind of like, Jesus Christ, right?
She's so happy to be in a room with someone.
I know
that's talking to her.
Right. It's great. And then like when the next time when she talks more and more, then again, those two together, like at that table, the energy there is just, I don't know. It's so good. I mean, like those two in a movie. I'm like, Kelly Reichardt made this movie just for me.
Right.
But I mean, because again, like I know we keep kind of waxing about Lily Gladstone, but Kristen Stewart's amazing in that role. I mean, this like weird, quirky, like nervous kind of energy that she has, but it's not that quirky, weird energy of the Cronenberg film, right? Crimes of the Future. It's this more like
or Twilight or
Adventureland. Twilight's terrible. Like no. Like we don't have to don't do that. We're talking seriously about Kristen Stewart. Right. We're talking about Olivier Assay's Muse.
We can't eliminate 6 films from her past just because we don't care for the subject matter.
Yes, we can. Because I don't, when I talk about Pattinson, I don't talk about Twilight either. Okay, so listen, right? Pattinson worked with Claire Denis and the Safdies. I don't know where I'm going with this, right? But still, yeah. Anyway,
all right. What about Snow White and the Huntsman? Do we discount that one too?
I don't know. That's fucking poetry, man.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Charlize. It's and Hemsworth.
Yeah.
The triumvirate we've been waiting for our entire lives.
Absolutely. Talk about 3 names that will never be put together again.
Seriously.
Right. Yeah, no, I just adore this movie. They're all so good.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, it's just so quiet and simple and
it's really, I mean, it's a showcase for these actresses. But none of them are, I don't know. There's such like a quiet power in what they're doing on the screen. And
it just feels real. I mean, if everything feels, like I said, if you didn't know these actresses, which I know is impossible, but I mean, if you were able to just separate yourself, this just feels slice of life.
Yeah.
This feels like this happens all the time. And there's that. I think that's what's great about this like non this non-narrative is that it shows the importance of these moments without having to have some sort of wraparound story to them. If we were to see Laura Dern be a lawyer who was ignored by her male clients, and that was the fucking plot of it, you're like, all right, I get it. I mean, it's fine. Men don't listen to women. I get that, but and the same thing with Michelle. I mean, like if this had been like a Bad Moms type story, right? Where it's like, and again, I just choose that because it's 3 women, but where it's like, oh, well, I've got this husband who doesn't fucking listen to me, and this husband who's cheating on me, and I got these clients who suck, and I got to do this dumbass job somewhere, and this,
Yeah. No, right.
So it's none of that. I mean, like it's none of that, which makes it obviously all the better. So let me mansplain fucking certain women to you guys. I'm gonna go.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing too, is that they all have all of that stuff that you just said is like true, right? I mean, about the like cheating husband and about
this could be twisted to be something stupid,
but it's also like just these 3 women that are kind of like, and I guess 4, right? But really, we're focused on Gladstone. But these 3 women trying to navigate lives, right, kind of on their own accord, in a way without anyone else, and that are all on some level kind of lonely or kind of alone, right? And so there's that as well. But they're also like not, they're not relying on anyone else either. So they're not these sad women that we're supposed to feel sorry for, right?
Right.
But they have problems, but they're also very capable of dealing with all of those things.
The moment where Gladstone's in her truck and she sees Stewart in the foyer of the building, and she's kind of waiting a pause to see if she's going to look over, and she doesn't. It's just fucking,
I know.
It's crushing.
It's just, it's so heartbreaking. Poor Lily.
Lily Sadstone.
That's it. This shit's over. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just kidding. One fucking dad joke away. It's going to come from one of us, right? All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to leave the kids with?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good too. Okay. We'll be back next episode. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, for those who celebrate, and by celebrate I mean have dinner on a Thursday.
For those who eat
in
on
November. Hopefully you don't have to work, any of that stuff. Anyway, other than that, hey, thank you all for listening,
and keep screaming.
Well, good for you, Marty. I was gonna let it go. You was looking so happy just now, I was thinking, but to tell you the truth, I'm glad you figured it. Because I have been dying to tell you. I just didn't know who you'd want to hear it from, I mean, Aaron or Roy or Aaron. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. Sort of a client, attorney privilege type of a secret, you know what I mean? It don't matter who you hear it from. It's the same story.
You have been listening to Why Does the Wilhelm Scream with your hosts, Brock and Jason. If you liked today's episode, do us a favor and rate, review, and subscribe in whatever application you use to consume podcasts these days. You can reach us by visiting whydoesthewilhelmscream.com. If you are in the DFW area, we would love to see you at a Fort Worth Film Club event. You can learn more about those and find a full schedule at fortworthfilmclub.com. And you can learn about my foundation and how we are trying to foster the next generation of film lovers at realhousefoundation.org. That's REEL housefoundation.org. Till next time.